morning, everyone, and welcome back to That Little Farm Productions. Today we have project Cover Stuff Up. This little standpipe here is one of the drains. If you'll remember from our previous video, if you go up this way, up there by the dry stream bed, that was the first one we covered up. This one's been down here for quite a while, and anyway, Angie's idea was we're going to turn this into a little miniature kind of wishing well looking thing. So what we have is our blocks that we got from Lowe's, a couple of decorative plants to put around it. We're going to use some landscape fabric over there and some drainage rocks to put a level base around the bottom of it so that hopefully our bricks line up somewhat level. And once we get the rocks up to the top, to cover up the black plastic, we're going to head back to Lowe's and get the stuff necessary to put the little roof on it. We're going to put a little tin roof on it to match the rest. So anyway, for once we filmed what it looked like before we started. Anyway, check in soon. Bye.
He's cleaned out around the bottom, and obviously they had the area leveled when they put the drainage pipe in there, so it was a quick task. And now he is laying down a perimeter of landscape fabric. We're trying to keep the weeds from growing up between the wishing well and the drain pipe so that it doesn't clog up and stop our drainage. So like I said, this is step 2. And Matt's being sweet enough to work around my little wildflower that took root there. Very exciting. He's got the gravel down, and he is putting the first layer of the bricks. And obviously he's leaving the gaps so the water can go through at the same place where the holes are, because we don't want to undo the good that our pipe does. And right now he's just taking a little extra time to make the first level layer so the other levels will be easier to put on.
Okay, the hard part of leveling the first part, or the first layer, is done. And we got all of the bricks down that we had. I miscounted the number that I would need because that's just what I do. But we've also decided that the top layer is going to be touching instead of being gapped like this. We're going to do 2 layers like that across the top. And while I'm running to Lowe's to get the bricks, I'm also going to get the stuff to make a roof for it, a little tin roof. Angie also wants a spindle across the middle that we can put a hanging bucket on. So anyway, just showing progress. Okay, so we were supposed to go to Lowe's and buy stuff for the wishing well project, and I made the suggestion, hey, let's stop by the old co-op and see what they've got. And they had stuff. We wound up spending a couple of $100 on some really cool trees, which we'll put in. I got my pecan trees. Angie got some new Angie right there.
Roses. Climbing roses. And
a fig tree.
And an Asian pear tree.
A what?
Asian pear tree.
One
of my favorite fruits.
Favorite fruits. Anyway, we're now headed back to the house so we can plant these, and then we'll go back to Lowe's so that we can finish our other project, so that we can get started on a different project maybe midway through that one. So so we stand here and watch my wife work. I promise I'll get back to it in a minute, but anyway, we pulled the cover off of the top. I've got the landscape timbers over there. Everything's measured out and ready to go. I just got to make a couple of cuts, and we're going to finish the wall here first, and then I'll start constructing the roof. I've got the stone thing done around the bottom, putting up the frame for the roof and the bucket. But one thing I forgot to look at was, even though this is nice and straight and level, when it's in here, there's nothing that's going to keep it from moving back and forth. So I have to find a way to secure these posts to the sides of this drain, and outside of a big gigantic screw, which I do not have, I'm going to have to temporarily put a couple of big giant zip ties on there. Then I'll come back later and screw those in nice and tight. So anyway, off we go to the next step. Time to get the roof for the wishing well built. I got the two end pieces to hold it on, and as you can see, the well down there, we took a look at it and decided that probably the best option is for me to build it and then just set it right on the top instead of trying to screw it into place there. So I'm going to try to build the whole thing here and then take it down. So pray for me. The little miniature roof truss is completed now. 30 inches across. It's not perfect, but nothing I ever make is. That's one of the reasons I love Angie. She says she doesn't like things perfect. So, okay, so now I've got these old roof tins from my brother-in-law down in Florida. Hey, Andy. And anyway, we're going to measure these out and cut them and stick them on there, and we'll be ready to go. Woohoo! One thing Angie says a lot when I'm building things is it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's really good, because this cutting tin sucks. Absolutely, terribly, 100% sucks. In fact, let me just think of a few things that I would rather do than cut tin. Okay, so the roof unit is done, and my plan was, I made a level mark on both of these, because these aren't precisely level, but I made a level mark on them on both sides. I'm going to put a brace there that this will slide over the top, just right over the top of this, and then pop down on that brace, and I can screw long screws into here that'll hold it on, because there's not much weight. It's just a wishing well thing. But as usual, I screwed up the measurements, so I'm going to have to take these 1-bys off and put 2-bys on. Just hopeful that I have long enough screws to get that done. So anyway, stay tuned. And now we've got the roof on, so we're almost done. It's nice and braced, as you can see. I went back and put 2x4s down as a brace, and then put long screws in to hold it. Looks pretty stable. Everything seems to be pretty good altogether. I did not put a roof cap on it for anybody who's, whatever. It's just a wishing well, but maybe I'll take a look at that later. So anyway, so far so good. Next up, we're going to put the little bucket in there. I've got the little dowel. I don't think she has a bucket for it yet, but I'm going to drill out the dowel and get it and put it in there. So check back later. Hey fellas, I was coming out here to tell people about our wishing well. Do you guys have other tasks for me to do? I guess not. It's that time of year, by the way. There's love in the air, so that seems to override everything. Hey fellas, how are things going? Are you guys hungry? I came out to talk about the wishing well, but I guess I need to take care of you first, huh? All right, stand by. And voila! Here we have our completed wishing well. We got a bucket from an antique place the other day, and now that it's all hung up, I thought I would come out and give you the quick tour. Everything went together nicely. Everything's nice and stable, and if I do say so myself, looks very nice. And it may or may not come through on this, but Angie's rose garden is right up there. So we have a very nice view looking down here to our happy little wishing well and then over to the pond. I'm going to walk up there and show you all the view in just a second. So our cherry tree decided to blossom this year. Last year it did not, and this year it is in full bloom and it is absolutely gorgeous. And it stands right up here at the beginning of Angie's garden. Really cool little ground cover growing up here. It's got these groovy little purple flowers. It's just growing all over the field, or all over the hill here. And if we continue on down, come a little further down the path, and we come up on our dry stream, which I've shown y'all before in video, but we have some really pretty flowers coming up. Just these natural little flowers shooting up under the bridge. Angie put a nice azalea over there, a couple of other flowers. We have our Japanese Crimson Queen off here to the right, and then headed on up the path. We've got our climbing roses on either side of the arbor. Roses in the center and all around. Climbing rose on an arbor behind the seat. An apple tree, which is growing nicely. And, if I do say so myself, a pretty nice view. Hey guys, thanks for watching us put this garden together. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of work, but it really came out nice. I think it's really pretty, and I'm glad Angie likes it. So if you ever find yourself in and around Troy, drop by and pay us a visit. We would love to see you. Bye bye. God bless.